What HaKadosh Baruch Hu was telling Moshe was Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha, because the place that you're standing on is Admas Kodesh. He said, you're talking about Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael has, every single Yid has an inner Kedusha in him that can never be destroyed. So he told him, Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha, because, so to speak, you're treading on holy ground over here. The Hamakam that you're standing on is Admas Kodesh. You can't talk about your Klal Yisrael this way. You can't underestimate Klal Yisrael. And that was Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him. The answer to his question was, he says, they're not going to believe me. He said, what are you holding in your hand? He says, I'm holding a mateh. There are two types of sticks. There are two types of things. We find that sometimes a stick is referred to as a mateh, and other times a stick is referred to as a makel. A makel is something that you destroy with. You pick up a stick, you want to break something, you break it with a makel. A mateh is something that you build with. That's a stick that you add to something else. It's something that's built with. One is from the Olam HaChorban, and one is from the Olam HaBinyan. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, what are you holding in your hand? He said, I'm holding a mateh. He said, you know what you do with that mateh? Throw it on the ground. And he ground and it turned into a snake. He said, but even though it's a snake now, pick it back up. A mateh is something that we could build with, no matter how low and no matter what happens to it. When you pick that up, it's going to turn back into a mateh. That somebody, this is what represents Klal Yisrael, that no matter what happens to them, and no matter how low they go, you pick it up, and now it becomes a mateh again. And I saw somewhere else, brought down, the Nesiv Shalom says somewhere else also, and it's not in this week's parsha. I didn't find it in this week's parsha. I saw it a couple of years ago during the Shuir on Friday night. Nesiv Shalom says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked Moshe what you're holding, and you're holding a mateh, he was telling him also that if you want to be a leader of Klal Yisrael, you have to be sure that you're always holding a mateh and not a makel. You have to believe 100% and wholeheartedly in the people that you're leading, that they can never, ever be consumed. That you always have to, there's always hope, and there's always that last point, before they reach the lowest point, they're going to come up again. And the last second, and he calls it the kusta de chiyusa, the last bit of life, with the last bit of life that it has, it sprouts, and out comes fruits, vegetables, trees, whatever grows. But until it totally rots away and totally becomes almost destroyed, you can't grow. And it can't become something that will become great. So that's what he compares. That's what he was saying about Klal Yisrael. You might think that Klal Yisrael was in the Mem Teshari Tumah, and Klal Yisrael is down, and Klal Yisrael is out. But you as a leader, you have to believe that this mateh, you have to believe that they're a mateh. What are you holding in your hand? You're holding a mateh. You have to believe that they're like this seed that just before the last second, it's going to grow to be something very big. And just to end off, we say the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, near the end of Sanhedrin, the Gemara says, Dani Hashem ba'ita achishena, that I'm going to redeem Klal Yisrael in the right time. So many Mepharshim talk about be'ita means, be'ita either means that, the Gemara says it means zachu. If there's zaycha, then achishena. But lo zachu, then be'ita. There is a certain time that the geula is going to come. So what we were saying now is that Klal Yisrael understood. Of course, they believed. When Moshe Rabbeinu said v'hein lo yaminu li, of course that they believed that there would be a geula. But what Klal Yisrael didn't believe was, how could there be a geula now? How could it be? We've been through so much galus. We've been through so many hardships in Mitzrayim. We've sunk so low. How is it possible that there could be a geula now? That. So what Klal Yisrael was missing is what the Rebbeinu Shalom told him later. He told him, B'ni b'chayri Yisrael, that all rules that you think, all things that you would think in your head, all those kind of rules are off the table when it comes to Klal Yisrael. The Rebbeinu Shalom deals with Klal Yisrael in a totally different oifen, in a totally different way. Klal Yisrael is B'ni b'chayri Yisrael. You're my children. You don't play by the same rules as everybody else. So when Moshe Rabbeinu said, V'hein lo yaminu li, of course he wasn't putting down Klal Yisrael totally, that they won't believe. They just don't believe in themselves enough. They don't believe that even if it's not the time for the geula, that we're able to get out of galus. And this is something we could also bring to ourselves. This is something we could learn. that sometimes you look around and we say how people get down and they see what's going on in the world, and you read the news and you see what's going on, unfortunately, sometimes in Klal Yisrael. But sometimes we say, how's it possible that the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to do such an amazing chesed, and one day Mashiach is going to come, we're not going to be able to believe it. But this is what a Yid has to always believe. No matter what it seems to you, that we're always B'nai B'chayri Yisrael. We're HaKadosh Baruch Hu's children. We don't play by the same rules. And even if we're down and out, even if we're at the last bit of that seed, which hopefully we're not, it's able to turn around in 1 second, and such tremendous things to grow out. And Mirta Hashem, we should all be zeicher to that. Go ahead.